We got sound. Oh my god, that's probably super loud. Let's go. No, it just means that I can't have the camera on me. How is the sound? It looks like my mic's picking up a lot. Hold on. Is my mic like way too loud? I swear, I tested this so much, but I did figure out how to fix the latency so there's not like a minute delay anymore. Now it's only a couple seconds. So that should be a lot better for the lives. It looks like my filters aren't on my mic, so it's picking up everything. Alright, we're just gonna have to deal with it. Alright, who's ready to go? See if I could open up anything else without this going crazy. Yo, what's up, Perfect Defect? We'll go into... Oh, don't do that. Alright, let's go here. We're gonna look at some of the ones that was posted last time. So you get this like ribbon style from AVR. Dope. She did a really good job of highlighting, doing a couple dual tones to make it. I probably would have done the highlighting on the other side. So like your inside marks have the shading and your outside marks have the highlight. But other than that, it looks really dope. How do I get out of there? This is the one I drew. There's a lot of things I would have changed on it, but I like it. Look at Simon going all out. And he has a cool pen. Get my chat window back up. Pop out chat. Let's move this over here. Oh man, I got Inception going on, huh? There we go. Alright, now I can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it. Perfect. It's really dope. I think Simon put a couple in here. Simon was going off. I like your little stick figure that the head is the O and the body. I like that. I really like how you did that. Simon, you're doing more of like a 3D than a shadow, but you're doing it really well. So it all has, it all looks like you're. So the only difference would be, I mean, it could be both. I think the big difference would be like right in here on your edges, instead of coming straight down. If you just did it like it was, here, I'll show you after I go through these. This is dope though. I love how you're taking, you're going all out on these. This is, plant seed, greed, hunger, grow. I like it. This one, I think you got a little too crazy on some of these smaller lines. I'd say, but I like how you did the overlapping as well. These all look like my brain computes it, so it really looks like this letter is sitting in front of this letter, and then this one's behind it. So this one, you could see the you can see all the different overlaps and they make sense. I like it. This one's coming out and it's going behind here. Really dope. Look at Simon went off. This is cool, all these little overlaps and underlaps. You're doing a good job on that. Same thing on this one though, like you're coming straight off the top of the edges, so it's looking a little more like it's just like a third dimension more than a shadow. But it's not wrong. And then what you could do on these is you could do like a shadow, like maybe with like a gray, like on these spots right here where the letters are overlapping, and then it would look even more really third dimensional. It's really sick. Lori's hashtag team fuck it. She's got that ribbon style as well, like nice cursive. Overlapping, underlapping is really good. Very beautiful, baby. Alright, let's close that. Let's turn the video off. Oh, you're getting new markers as well. Sweet. So today we're going to do kind of the same thing as we did last time. We're just going to go into a little more detail after we get the drawing done. So somebody type in chat what word I should write. Angel. Yo, thanks, Johnzu. Enjoy your day at church. Get your Jesus on. Yo, what's up, Steve? What's up, Lisa? All right, so if anybody else is joining in, we're just gonna write a pretty simple word. Write it out, very blocky and spaced out, and then you're gonna just expand on those letters. Then you go back in, kind of clean them up. Make sure that you focus on whatever thickness that you started with on your first letter. Try to match that all the way through the piece, because that's probably one of the biggest mistakes I see from anybody just starting out doing lettering. When you're adding your own style to it, there's like certain places you could go smaller and bigger, but you don't want, what you don't want is, I say it like a lot of like starting out graffiti artists or somebody like just kind of doing lettering. For some reason, they feel like graffiti has to look like a weird ghost or a slime. So they'll do like all these weird, unnecessary like wiggles. I don't know how you would say it. Like, it's much cleaner to have everything matching. So if you can keep the same line weights going through, and then if you want to add some style to it later, you can, but you still want to keep your line weight pretty much the same. Oh, Jerry's in the building. AVR, Ashley Easdale, what's up, girls? What it be like, y'all? Oh, this latency thing that I fixed, so much better. I like it. All right, so now we're gonna take these letters. We got the, what would you call it, like the foundation for them. It's kind of like you have your blueprint. Yeah, I like that there's not like a huge freaking I like that there's not a huge delay on it anymore. I spent about 4 hours working on my computer in OBS, and in the process of that I kind of found some cool tricks and stuff. Okay, I don't like the E overlapping the L right there, so I'm probably gonna change that. CM Dubs! What's up, buddy? AutoCAD is my friend. You know what's funny is that I think AutoCAD really helped develop my graffiti when I was very, very young. Because my friend, his mom was a logo designer, like for a lot of like major companies back in the 90s. So she had like this cool ass computer system, and AutoCAD is what she used. And this was like really like advanced for anything that was on the computers. Now you could probably do that shit on your phone, but we would put letters in there, and then you're able to like convert it to 3D and then like twist it, and like you put the letters on. Like I could put this on there, turn it into 3D, like distort it, like twist it and wave it, and then it would like give us an idea of how to draw that. It's pretty cool. If I'm right, it was AutoCAD, because that's the only thing I remember back then. But AutoCAD would be like, I think, similar to Adobe Illustrator. All right, I'm trying to go slow so you guys can catch up. And I'm using my wife as your guys' pace car, so I'm checking what she's doing to see where she's at. Chasing MILFs, whoa, CMW. Alright, while you guys are catching up, I'm gonna start adding a little style to the lettering. So instead of straight lines, I'm doing some little curves. Putting little lips on the edges of them so they don't look just so plain. Down here, I'm going to do my kind of my signature letters breaking off.
So I gotta take it and change it?
Have you already done pen?
No.
No. Yeah, I mean, if you want. See how I'm doing it?
No, I missed it.
So I'm going to match the first part of this N to the first part of this A so that they have like a little symmetry going. Try to get it as close as possible to how that one is. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to curve this down just so that has like a little nice little style to it. We could leave the top, we could leave this section of the end just straight up. But I wouldn't want to bring this down to a point. I would want to like either cut that off like that. Yeah, it's not too bad. Is it blurry? Let me see. I could zoom in on it. Maybe do like a little focus on it. Joint Dale, what's going down? The G I'm not gonna mess with too much because there's not a lot you could do with. So with G's, for me and my own personal experience, there's not too much you could do to them without turning them into other letters. So let me focus on some other letters first, and then we'll go back to the G. But I'm gonna match the same little curve that I did on the A and the N for the base of the E. And then we'll figure out how we're gonna do the, maybe something like, maybe curve this one. We'll see, because if I do that, I'm gonna have to curve the A one as well. So we'll see if we're gonna keep this or not. AutoCAD has thousands of uses and tools. It's just like a hybrid of hand drawing, engineering, and The Sims. I'm a residential energy surveyor. How do you survey energy? I think for the top of the E, I'll come here, give it like a little lip so it comes down. It's gonna look a little weird. I don't think it's gonna match in here very much. Maybe more of a backwards indent, and then we'll have to come out further. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now the L, I'm gonna match the L just like the A and the N and the E. So we're gonna come out a little bit this way and then curve it in. So instead of just this straight blocky letter, and now I could probably match this E. Yeah. Did he just ask how to survey energy? Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know what a energy surveyor does. Unless you just like go to houses and see how much people are using, or is it like a residential, or is it like commercial, or is it analytics? Probably do my overlap thing right here so these letters stay. Did Marshall just score? You hate that guy. Why are you saying goal? Oh, you said goal, Marshall. I thought you said go, Marshall. You can't like him when he scores goals and hate him all the other times. Oh, okay, okay. So like, oh, that's cool. So finding out where houses could be improved to hold in heat or save energy in general. God, you'd probably save me a shitload of money at my house. Our house has, we were just talking about it yesterday, like the one thing I would really work on is fixing our electrical at our house, because our house was built in the 90s, and the person that did the electricity, I think, used every trick in the book to, it's almost like Frankenstein. It's like every breaker in the panel is different, like different brands and different settings, and yeah, it wasn't the 1890s now. Yeah, they're probably like, oh, so you have a brand new house? That's dope. I am gonna put a little bit of curve on this in, just so that it comes down better. I think that looks better, and it flows with the G a little better. Angel is a nickname I've gotten from some people here and there. Oh, really? So instead of saying AJ, they say Angel? I've got boxers older than your house. That's funny. Yeah, I would say like the heater for our pool takes up a lot of electricity. The air conditioning takes up a lot of electricity. We have like a brand new appliances though. Wifey likes the top of the line brand new appliances. All right, what should we do next? So what I wanted to show you guys today is after we get our basic lettering done, how to make this pop up off of the page. So once you get your lettering done, I'm going to show you guys how to do 3D, and then I'll show you some of the tricks that make it really stand out. I think the energy survey helps builders design homes with energy consumption saving as part of the design, windows, solar power, air conditioning, etc. Oh, okay. Solar panel and a battery. Yeah, we've been looking into solar. Solar is really big here in Las Vegas, but there's a lot of like, it's hard to just jump into it because there's a lot of shady, not shady, but I feel like it's always, how would you say it? Like, not a scam, but there's like, it's like you could buy the solar panels and they'll install them, but then they own them and they get the electricity that anything's over, they get the profit from it. And there's all these different little what'd you call it, like programs, I guess. Lori knows about it more because she actually listens to the people talk. I just ignore them. So we need to invite Steve over and have him tell us the best route for saving energy. Conflicting programs and changing in legislator. Yeah, that's so when I remember when solar panels first became a thing here in Vegas, like you could actually put solar panels on your house and then get paid from the electric company, because we're in Vegas, we have so much sun that we would be producing, like the houses were producing more electricity than using. And then they quickly changed the legislation on that. But we have here in Vegas, we have like dickheads like Warren Buffett who comes in, buys the electric company, and then raises the prices. Your best bet is to buy them outright and store the energy in a battery. How much is solar panels in the UK? I guess that's very relevant, or how would you say that? Like where it changes with every house? I don't know how to speak. $6,000 you can get one. Oh, nice. Wind power is all you do there. Oh, okay. I used to, after I got out of the military for about a year, I built power lines, and the power lines we were building were to the giant windmills on the top of plateaus. Those big, huge, giant, like turbine windmills.
I can't make my first and second N alike.
So once everybody has their design ready to go, then we'll go into 3D, adding some dimension to it. give you guys like 2 or 3 minutes to catch up. My eraser. Oh, was AVR in here? You okay, baby? Oh, AVR, I gotta show you something that came in the mail today or yesterday. Let's go. So I'll be mailing out your CD either, I don't know if we'll be able to do it today because right after this stream, we're going to go watch the football game and go on a date. And I got to look up who the other one I need to send to. And then I'll have 2 extras and we'll figure out some type of giveaway for that as well. Alright, looks like Lori is pretty much where she's going to be at. And then we'll start the 3D. So we'll start it simple today. I won't do like my normal 3D that I do. I'll do...
Can I get another one of these things?
Oh, I don't know where they are. Let me try to find erasers. This one might work. I think that's a bigger one. Have it. Don't remember where I put it though.
Sorry.
Yeah. These are dope though. These are really cool. I don't know if you can see them on here. It's all reflective. Really cool. Oh, can I open yours or have you open yours? Do you mind? Let's open it up and check it out. Ooh, look at that. That's dope. God damn. Motherfucker's in there. That's cool. Actually, it might be a couple days before I mail it out because I might go make prints of the money game drawing and then send those with the CDs signed by me. Alright, let's do 3D. So here's how we're going to do it. So hopefully you're all caught up by now. What we're going to do is we're going to pick a point. Actually, I'll show you guys. Let's see. So we're gonna pick a point on the page anywhere you want. I'm gonna go right here. So I'm gonna go to this dot. You could do this with a ruler or you could do it by eye, however you want. I put the ruler right on the dot and just kind of like use this, kind of like where I'm moving this. It doesn't have to be super perfect, but just draw lines straight to that thing. You can draw them as far as you want. It does, I mean, just give yourself some room. And you're just gonna go from every single corner. So, oh, here's actually how I do it. So I put my pencil on the corner that I'm starting at, and then I put the ruler up against it and then line it up to the dot. You could draw straight through the lettering if you want. This is just giving you a reference point. And then sometimes, so I have this A curved up like this, but it just happens to be the same exact angle that this dot is. And then you would not be able to see the 3D there. So you could, if that's the case, you could just re-angle this a little bit. It's not really that big of a deal. Sometimes you'll have to change like the whole structure of a letter, but like right there in that case, it wasn't really bad. And we're just gonna keep doing this all the way through the piece. Oh shit. See what I did? Did not mean to do that. Just gonna try to make the pencil lead a little bit longer so it goes up against the side of the ruler. We're just going from any little corner, any little edge. Where you have something like this, where this like E is curved right here. It actually goes pretty close to the line, so I'm just gonna think I got most of the... I always find ones afterwards. There's some spots where you're gonna have to guess. Too much lead in my pencil. Yeah, this is and then once you can like kind of concept that there's a dot right here or right here, then you can just, it's not hard to just kind of freestyle it. And if you were to freestyle it and just do it yourself and then hold a ruler to it up, you'd see that you're not that far off. And then what I do, once I get all my lines going, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pick a thickness for the dimension. So I'm going to come into these corners. So that's how thick I want my dimension. And then I try to mimic that all the way through the piece. And then you just go back in and erase those tails that are like a little bit longer. So the idea is, if you have this 3D going down here on this specific edge, you're just gonna match this line right here over here. Sometimes it doesn't seem right, but in the end you'll see that it is usually pretty accurate. So I don't have any corners on this edge right here, so I'm just gonna match that, right? So I'm gonna pick how thick I want this 3D. Now I know I'm just gonna copy this line that's coming down here and try to make it about the same thickness as the other ones, and then it's correct. Oh, I should have done a same thing with right here. So instead of making a straight line there, since this is a curve, I'm just gonna curve. I'm gonna match this curve right here with the line here, and then that should be about the same thickness. So this will be the tricky part up here. So whenever you have like a perfectly round curve thing, you don't want to come straight down and then start there, because it looks really awkward. So when you're coming right off the edge of a curve, you're gonna curve that as well and try to match that curve perfectly. So we're going to do the same thing in here. This one is where you kind of have to guess. But if you don't want to guess, if you're not good at guessing and you want it to be really, really legit, this one's kind of important. So I could show you a trick that I use for this. It's kind of like, you would imagine this was like a piece of glass or something, right? So you'd come to this corner. If you can't figure out where to guess for this, you could come to this corner, draw up, and we're going to try to like mimic this curve right here. And then You just erase this part here. And that'll help you get this inside curve here. Yo, what's up, Nick? So we're just making sure that these are like the same thickness as everywhere else. Bring those lines up and then try to, like, anywhere where there's not a corner, you're just matching the lettering structure. So I want this line and this line to be exactly the same. I want this line and this line to be exactly the same. Then I'll clean that up with an eraser and it should look pretty good. I think my ring just smeared. This is why you should use a napkin or a towel. Or air if you had it. Probably be pretty good. So you're not getting grease all over it and smearing everything. Yours is a nightmare, baby. You got your 3D done though? Alright, once we get our 3D done.
I put it too low so you can hear when the G is a 400. So I don't know what to do with the G.
So this is where you would go. Now we could do our permanent markers or ink pens or whatever you're using. The point of no return here. I usually do the lettering first. The crazier pieces, like the more wild the style, I do the letters first and then I go back and do the 3D, because sometimes trying to do it all at the same time, it won't make sense as much in your mind, and you could like start inking in places that shouldn't be overlapped, like maybe you didn't hit it right with the eraser. So once I have my lettering inked, then I will just go back and start doing my 3D. Then the idea would be like, you just know like you're not gonna overlap any of the inked in spots. So even if you didn't erase very good, just know like you just don't ever want to, when you're drawing your 3D, you know that the 3D would not be over the top of the letters, so you just got to stop at these edges. I don't know if that makes sense. Makes sense in my head. And I'll say it like one of my mentors, Smo, he's always saying it doesn't have to be right 100%. It doesn't have to be like super correct, because your brain fills in gaps. So your brain sees something and it just reads it, or it just fixes the 3D on its own. Yo, what's up, Jorge? What's up, AS? How you doing? So the whole goal is to just get it close enough. That's why I was saying using the ruler is not that important. It's a good way to start out though, if you're having questions of like where this line should go or where it should be. It's a good way to start out, but you'll quickly stop doing it once you've kind of got the concept going, because like I said, your brain fills in a lot of like incorrect spots. You ever see those sentences where all the letters are mixed around but you could still actually read it? Like, it's kind of crazy. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Oh, I did. I did not get really drunk and pass out and miss Thanksgiving this year, so it was a win for me. We had a bunch of family over and there wasn't like any major fights. When you're dyslexic, that's how all the sentences look. That's crazy. I have a son who is dyslexic. And he had a very, very hard time in his younger grades, but by his older grades, he was pretty, I wouldn't say like top of his class, but I think he figured it out. Some things took him a little bit longer, so he was having hard times with like taking tests where like the rest of the class would have like X amount of time to do a test. He would get like really frustrated that he wasn't finishing as quick. But overall, I think he's a pretty freaking smart kid. So I'm just letting you guys catch up. And we're letting our ink dry. Because I think I showed you guys last time, if I start erasing now, there's a tendency for, like, in the corners, the pen might smear. Looking at it now, I really don't like how I made my E. It's very wonky. I think the top of it looked good until I put the 3D on it, and now it looks... Oh well. I'll start erasing while you guys catch up. And just pray that it doesn't smear too much. You don't like any of it? I think Lori gave up too. Should be using the towel. I'm getting a little smearing, but not too bad. Normally I would like wait like a half hour to an hour before I started erasing. But for the sake of the stream, we will just keep going through it. Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, if you're doing like an instructional video and you're following along, I'm sure it's really hard. And not only that, but if you expect yours to look like mine, I'd be the greatest teacher in the world. I've been doing this since, 30 something years. And if I could just show you how to do what I do in the second tutorial, it'd take a lot away from my talent, I would think. All the years of practice and learning, if you guys could just do it on your second try just the same as me, then so I think for this piece, we're going to start coloring it next. And we're going to just do single color. And then on the next stream, I'll show you guys blending and how I do my blending with the markers. I'm gonna use my cheaper set of markers as well. Somebody pick a color. Purple. All right. I'm gonna do like a lighter purple. Kind of like a violet. And then I'm gonna find a dark one. So I have a mist, violet mist, and I have a deep violet. So I want two colors. And then what color should the 3D be? If we're going with purple, what goes good with purple? Definitely not chartreuse. I think I only have one chartreuse and it's really ugly. It looks like a vomit green. We could do like a light pink. A light pink goes with purple, right? Let's go with pink and purple. Fuchsia. Is fuchsia like a pink? I don't know what color fuchsia is. I might do like a, let's see, this is called pastel pink. And then maybe I'll get like a vivid pink as well, like a little bit of a darker one. It's red and fuchsia is red and purple. All right. I thought, oh. I don't have anything named fuchsia. Oh my god, I have something named fuchsia. Alright. It's almost the same color as this vivid pink, so I'll use that instead. So AS, I don't know if you've ever been in any of my streams before, but I am colorblind, so a lot of this stuff I just have to base on the numbers of the markers and just colors that I've used multiple times. So this one is actually called fuchsia. I don't know if it comes up on the camera or not. I doubt it. Alright, so I'm going to start with the very light pink. We're going to do our on this one, you know, we drew the lettering first and then the 3D. On the coloring, I like to start with the 3D first. Especially if I'm using like a light color and then a darker color on the lettering. And I'll show you because if you were to go over the line, or if the marker bled at all, like if your markers bleed into the paper a little bit, that's kind of where they like spread out. Mostly if you get like one spot too saturated with the color. If it was to go into your letter and you're using a darker color for the fill-in, then you can fix that mistake. Because you could go with alcohol markers, you could go darker over lighter. You just can't go lighter over dark. So with these less expensive markers that I got, these are from Shuttle Art. This was like where you can get like 150 of them for like 30 or 40 bucks. They have tendencies to not work like my more expensive markers. Whereas when you draw it on here, you have to wait and it dries differently. So if you look, it looks like I'm using 3 different colors right now. It's just because these haven't dried to match what it actually looks like once it's dried up. And it makes it very, very difficult. Ooh. My girl curled her hair. She's looking pretty. So typically if I was going to be blending the 3D, which I'm not going to be blending it right now, but if I was blending it, I would typically do the first letter and then start blending it before it dries too much. And I'm also thinking that, so if I was using my glass theory, right? So this letter would come here. This, the back of the letter would be something like this. So I should have drawn a line there. So that 3D wouldn't come like all the way down, since this is the perspective that we're looking at. It would like be the same as here. None of that probably made sense, but I'm gonna smear it because I just drew that line and now I'm erasing. Oh well. This one's probably off too. Like, I think this is too thick on the 3D, or the lettering. It's kind of a little wonky. Like this part right here is thinner than this part right here. So I kind of messed up there. But I
everyone I gave up?
say what?
Did you tell everyone I gave up?
No. Oh, my battery died. Hold on one second. Gonna lose it for a second. We're back. Someday I will get that power cord to where I won't have to change the batteries. I should have erased that better. Oh well. Yeah, it's very weird how these markers work, how they dry like a completely different color. Like it looks like I used 4 different colors through it. Oh, you completely redid it? Oh wow. So I'm gonna do my 3D, get my 3D filled in 100%. Now I'm gonna take my purple and start doing my lettering. So depending on what type of markers you have, the saturation of the markers, these ones don't do too bad of a job where you're, if you overlap, you get like different colors where you overlap them. I will say that that's a pretty good selling point for me on a marker. So for like a pretty cost-effective marker, these do a pretty good job of that, where you're not seeing it get darker and lighter where you overlap them. So definitely give them props on that. You know, like if you were using like Crayola markers or something, you'd be able to tell every single spot where you overlap the markers. And if you're using alcohol markers and your paper is not alcohol marker paper, make sure that you're putting like scratch paper in between the next one, because it does bleed through and get the next page. I do have to monitor the time too. Okay, it's only 11. We're good. Football game starts at 1. I'm doing a date with wifey. We'll go watch the Chiefs play. One of our big rivals, Chiefs and Raiders today. See, it is proving me wrong right here. What is the best paper to use? I use all types of different paper, and I think they all have pros and cons. So once you figure out what types of markers you're using, you just gotta play with them. I use multi-purpose paper. My best sketchbook, I think, is A4 paper. Multimedia, not multi-use. So multimedia is the one I like, but it's I use multimedia paper because, so all, like I said, all of them have their ups and downs. One, your pencil smears more on one type and it's harder to erase, and then like another type might have like your markers might bleed out. White paper is the best to use. The only paper that Ashley knows about is rolling papers, so don't listen to him. I kind of went outside the lines on that one. I'm being kind of lazy and using the very thick side of this just to fill it in faster. And when you do that, sometimes you fuck up. If you try to take shortcuts, you're bound to fuck up. Yeah, I like to make the third dimension. I like the dimension to be a little bit lighter, because we're not looking at it. So, how could I explain this for graffiti style? We're not looking at it like it's a 3D object where you would see like the dimension of it would be like darker. We're looking at it more of like these are the letters and they were like cut out of something, almost like a cake, right? Like if you were to cut into a cake and the frosting was on the top and then the cake is a different color. That's how I look at my letters. Not like it's a 3D object. You can draw in the 3D object style. That's a whole different style. But when it comes to graffiti pieces, I look at it like that, like it's somebody cut it out of something and you get to see what the 3D is different. Not sure if that made any sense at all. Perfect analogy. I love cake. All right, so now we're getting. I'm gonna let you guys catch up and fill in your letters. And I'm kind of letting this all dry, and all these parts that I made like really bad mistakes in, it's easily fixable once I do another outline on the outside. And I'll show you what the next step is. You guys don't have to do this part, but it definitely adds a nice little So when we drew our dot and that gave us our perspective, it means that we're like looking at it from like if we were standing over here and looking at the letters. So we're gonna I'm gonna take the fuchsia, which is just a little bit darker than the pastel pink. And I'm just gonna go into like certain edges and give it a little bit of shadow. And I'm not going to do this too crazy because, like I said, your brain fills in a lot of the extras. So if you just do it a little bit, just little hints of it, your brain will fill in the rest of it. And it doesn't matter which way you do this angle of the shading, as long as you do them all the same way once you start. Just a cool little trick right there. Just adds just one more little dimension to it. And it's very like, it's very simple. I don't even know how to say it, but it's like a very cheap, easy way to just add a little bit to it. And then what you could do, so we know once our pink has dried, if I take the same exact color and went over certain parts, it would make it darker. So I'm gonna have the light coming. So even though we're looking at it from this angle, we're gonna have the light coming from this angle. It's usually how I do my light source. So what I would do, right, if I know the light's coming from this way, anything on this side, the back side of the letter, would be like a little darker. So if I use the same color that I started with, hopefully, I can just make them a little darker than the other ones, just by going over the same section. But this pink might not work like that. That's kind of weird. This pink is working way more like a highlighter. So what I might need to do is go with a little bit of a darker pink. But that's just where like learning your markers comes into play. But we'll see when it dries if it's any darker. And this isn't necessary for this piece, like this is just kind of like a quick little tip. It doesn't look like it's getting any darker, but it is like making a difference. So maybe it'll look good. Who knows? Let that dry, see what it does. It might have made those spots lighter, so it might look silly. But the next, this is where we turn this top layer of the piece into like that it's sitting on top of the 3D. So I know my light source is coming this way. I'm going to take a darker purple now. And I'm just going to go on the outside edge, right? So I'm like, the light is, it's not coming like this way, it's more coming like at this angle, like toward on top of it. So I'm basically going on the back side of these letters. We're just going to do a little bit of a line with a little bit darker marker. I might have needed a little bit darker than even this one, because I think once it dries, it's going to kind of blend in too much. But it might be just enough to this almost gives it a beveled edge, if you know what that means. It's not blending very well. I might go with even a darker one. I'm gonna go with a darker purple just to make it more obvious. So what was that last one? That last one was something violet, wasn't it? Huh. Where did it go? Did I put it away? Oh, it's over here. This was deep violet. I have one that's called ultraviolet. I wonder if that will be darker. Because once it's dried, it really, you can't see it. It almost blends in with it. Oh, this is going to be too dark. Wow. Hopefully this dries a little bit lighter. This is just going to look like a crazy outline now. And this is where practice comes into play, where you just learn your markers and you learn your colors. This is way too dark. This is going to be a very, very hard beveled edge, instead of a very subtle bevel that I was looking for. But it is going to stand out a lot more now. And then it's up to you if you're looking at it from this angle. If you want to do these like upward angled ones, sometimes you could just do like a little bit of it. So now it definitely stands out way more. And then the next step I would do, this is something that I highly recommend. If y'all are actually gonna get serious about this, order some of these. They're called Uniposca. And this is a fine white paint marker. So it's a super, super fine tipped paint marker. But they're such high quality and they're very, very inexpensive. You could usually get like 3 of them for like $5 or $6. But these are what I use to do all my highlights of all my drawings. And you could just get them. I just order them straight from Amazon. I usually get them in a couple days. It's pretty easy. So now what I'm gonna do is your bevel, or your, what are we calling it, a chamfer, is on the side that this light wouldn't be reflecting on. So we're just going to do the opposite. Now we're going to do, and when you're using the paint marker, this is one thing sometimes I forget. Try to start like all the way from like the top left, go down and then over, so that you're not running your hand across it, because the paint takes a while to dry. So start from the furthest point as you can and then work your way across. I guess if you're left-handed, you'd probably want to do the opposite. So if you're left-handed, you'd start from this side and then move this way. But this is the fun part, when you start to add these highlights on the left hand or on the right hand side, on the light source side, really starts to make it look like a 3D object, like so much. My wife is a lefty. And I think Ash too, if he's still in here. All the smart people I know are left-handed. Oh, you're all lefties. Jesus Christ. No way. Everybody in my stream is left-handed. Oh, here it was. Yeah, you guys could take over. Man. I think I'm going to end the stream. I don't want to be hanging out with all these left-handed people. So if you're also, this is like CMW, let's go. So all the smart people are left-handed and all the cool people are right-handed. Just kidding, you guys. So if you're using these Udi Polskas, you'll start to notice that like after a second after it starts to dry up, it kind of absorbs into that color. So instead of being like a bright white, it'll start to fade into like a pink since we're going over the top of purple. And now if you look at that drawing, man, it's popping out so much more. Nintendo James, you've never been... Oh, I was gonna make a joke. Well, it makes sense that everybody in here is left-handed because my wife clearly likes to hang out with me. So I just must, like, left-handed people just want to hang out with me. Jerry. Okay, so my next step, I have my shade side, my bevel side, I have my highlight side, I got my 3D, I got my shading. Now I'm gonna take my straight black. You're not left-handed, Jerry. Are you really? Bro, if every single person in my stream is left-handed except for me and CMW. Wow, this is crazy. That is really crazy. There's 12 people in here. I think it's like really like going against all the odds of everything. Because the odds of like the percentages of like left-handed versus right-handed people is so low that it's so crazy that in one spot all of you are left-handed. All right, so now I'm going to take my black marker and I'm just going to redo the outside edges to make them a little thicker, because for graffiti art, we like to have thicker outline on the letters. And also it cleans up like all the corners and where the highlights go over the letter or over the outline. Oh, I really messed that up. And once you do this, it really, really should look very, very crisp. Because your black ink marker will go over the paint marker. And this is just a personal preference when I'm redoing my ink. I don't redo the inside lines of my 3D. I only redo the outside lines. So I won't redo like little lines like this one and this one. I'll just do the outside ones, and it makes it really pop out when you do it that way. This, for some reason, left turns all day like you do in NASCAR. Technically, you could do this with a black marker, like a thicker marker. I just think it kind of bleeds a little bit. It's way faster, but it kind of gives it like a almost like a blurry edge. But like way faster. But since this isn't like a commission piece or like being framed or put on shirts, you could save a good amount of time by just using the thicker marker. When you're trying to avoid the bleeding and the like shaky lines with these bigger markers, the faster that you move your hand, the better. Just like spray paint. And since you guys aren't on camera, figure out which angle you write in, like the cleanest. So I know like when I'm writing this way, I get real shaky. When I'm writing like straight down, it's very clean. Like I have a lot of control. So typically, if you guys weren't watching me draw, I'd be coming like, if I'm doing a line here, I would turn my paper to match like my best angle. So you guys could feel free to do that. Figure out what is the best angle for you to make like perfectly straight lines. For the camera, I try to keep it this way and I try to like get my body angled as good as I can. but sometimes I just have to go like a up angle like that. I really get shaky. Yeah. My notepad been spinning like a steering wheel in Tokyo Drift. I love it. So we're really, I mean, this is just such a simple drawing, but it's really looking really good. Now the next step I would do, we got pink and purple. Pink and purple. What colors match with pink and purple? Yellow, green, light blue. Maybe like a turquoise color. I wonder if I have this turquoise. I have a really pretty turquoise color, but here, it's like the light blue one. That's not the turquoise. This light blue will work. Yo, Nick, thank you so much. Acid green. I wonder if I have like a. Would this be like an acid green that you're talking about? Let's see. These are. That's my green and that's my blue. Both green. Let's see, turquoise is cool too. Yeah, the turquoise. I don't think I have a thin one on the turquoise. I don't even know where that turquoise went. Maybe I just invented it. I don't really have turquoise. I swear I did though. We will go with. I think this one's gonna stand out more. So if you have paint markers, you could do it. If not, you could do it with regular markers, like the regular alcohol markers. Actually, let's do that. I will do that as well. I'll use POV of Evil Mac roasting Jerry. Yo, Jerry, you always hiding in the bushes. Coming into the chats, throwing all these pushes, left, right, hooks, and always making fun of Ashley. It gets past me. It's drastic. I am no Harry Mack. This says light green, but it looks very yellow. Do half and half so we could see. We'll just do. So this is another thing with your cheaper markers. You're gonna get where, especially for somebody that's colorblind, it's kind of fucked up. My Prismacolor markers, basically what you see is what you get. So like whatever color is on here, it's usually comes out on the page. This one like looks like a fluorescent highlighter, but the tip of the marker actually looks like very dark green. So we'll see what it looks like. So what I'm going to do now is just make one outline around the whole piece of this. Usually I like to use the brightest offsetting color. Not offsetting as far as like clashing, but like, yeah, this green, I think I should have went with the blue. Actually, it does kind of highlight it pretty well, so. But yeah, we're just gonna go all the way around it. Just try to stay as even as you can. But it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to come back over it with blue, or I mean with black. And that's what's going to really, really make this thing fucking stand out so much. And you guys get to see my signature drips and bubbles. I don't even know where I came up with that, like when that started. Yeah, it's dope. It gives it a nice highlight, but this is where it comes in. The next stage, once you've got your outline, it doesn't look that great. It's just kind of like a nice little, when you're looking at it in the big picture right now, it just doesn't do much for it. But think kind of messed that up. I went too thin right here, so now I'm gonna have to make Once I add the black, it's gonna make it really pop out. Yeah, this is the magic part right here. Whenever I'm doing my pieces when I used to stream on Twitch all the time, this was like always the coolest part. It just really lifts it out of the page. Mm. So normally what I would do as well for time wise, so that I don't have to use this thin marker or thin ink pen the whole way through, what I would do is just get the line perfect, the thickness where I want the lines at, where I want the black at. So this part you could like be very deliberate with and make sure that you have. Over here I did like the whole thickness, but I didn't need to. I'll show you what I'm trying to explain. Anywhere where there's like crazy amount of like it really takes, you have to be very careful. Do your black. This little corner here, I don't know if you can see it, but the black, when I did the green outline, the green was like saturated enough that it made the black bleed into it. So that's why I normally like to do that outline with a paint marker, because now I could go back over that. Let's see if I have a, I could just use straight yellow probably and clean it up a little bit. Like that, just to get that corner sharp. Yeah. And the paint markers, even though they cover it completely, right? So if I'm using a yellow and I'm going over the top of a black, it's gonna kind of absorb some of that black as well if I don't go over it multiple times. So it's gonna even turn into more of like a faded darker yellow anyways, so it'll match up with that green to the naked eye, unless you like actually went and looked at it and saw that there was a mistake there. It's the same thing with like the whites, right? How I said like the whites will kind of fade to the color that it's underneath it. This part right here where this white is too, like it never really faded. I must have done like a thick coat right there. I could take like a really light pink and I could just go right over the top of that white with that light pink and just like subtly like get that brightness off of it. So now that one spot doesn't stand out so much. Okay, almost done. I've had to pee for like the last 20 minutes, but I didn't want to stop because I know the stream's going to be ending soon. All right, once I have my good detail in there with this pen, now I'm going to switch to the marker and make this like 1,000 times faster. And then what I do is my drips. So I'm going to kind of So when I do in my drips, I'm just kind of like making it kind of look like it's bubbly, and then at the furthest points down, I try to just come down with the drip. And then every once in a while, just do like a little, maybe like a drip would be starting there, but it's not actually forming. And then on this corner, we'll do a drip. This is why I was saying you could just come in with the black, the first black, and then come back through with the marker. It would have been way faster. Getting drippy with it. Dripless, believe it or not. RikaShae. Y'all need any puns, man? Just hit up my homie Ashley. It's got that shit on lock. Or if you want to put Jerry's head on something with a pun, like Jerry grows Shay, you could do that as well. Oh, getting a little crazy with the bubbles over here. Yeah, he's insanely fast with them. What's up?
They have one.
What happened?
They have one of these cheaper trees. Where is this? The one that was they didn't have anymore. They have them.
There we go. Now, if you want to get fancy right here, it's really foggy outside, but can't think of a pun. Damn it. Missed opportunity. There you have it. Then your last thing to do is put your signature on it. What is Whitney Houston's favorite coordination? What is Whitney Houston's favorite coordination? What is Whitney Houston's favorite coordination? I can't think of it. I can't think of anything. Hand-eye coordination. I'm not gonna sing it. I'm gonna bless your guys' headphones. Save my angelic voice. Dude, that's really funny. And I... Oh yeah. It's hard not to sing it. Yes, we could post this into the Discord, and if anybody was drawing along, you post it into my Discord. The Discord should be in the description. And then next time I do these drawings, we'll check out what we drew. And then
What the fuck? It said it was in stock, now it's saying it's out of stock.
oh, you goddamn it, mother effer. What? Photo selected for what? I just want to see it and then edit it. I should have turned off the lights to take the picture so that it doesn't have all this shade, or where my phone is like blocking the light in some spots but not in others. There we go. How do you catch a unique rabbit? A unique rabbit. How do you catch a unique rabbit? With a hair snare? I don't know. He's unique up on it. Boo. Just kidding, I'm gonna use that. But yo, we're gonna go watch the Chiefs game, and I need to finish putting up the Christmas lights. So thank you guys all for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for those super chats. It doesn't seem like much, but those super chats will make more money than this stream will in probably a year. So I really appreciate you guys. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I hope you guys learned something. And that's what any type of art, any type of martial arts, any type of any discipline that you're doing, you know, you just learn one little trick at a time and you get better and better as you go. And then when you're able to put them all together, it's when you really start enjoying it. What did Michael Jackson like to do on holiday?
Beat it.
My wife said beat it. Wow. Ski. I learned that I need practice and actual markers. Yeah. Markers definitely will make a difference. Lori hangs out with us too much in Discord. But yo, you guys have a good weekend or good rest of the weekend. I am out of here. Peace.